is, my God, I love this sport.
I do too. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the greatest thing going. And I'll tell you something, guys. I don't do this often, but I got respect for DDP. He gave it everything.
And I don't think you're not the only one, Bray. Look at this. Goldberg helps DDP up.
An act of respect right there.
And this is what it's all about.
That's what's great about this profession.
That's right. It's not using ball bats to try to take people to the hospital or try to burn people. It's about the one-on-one competition for the title.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Greenberg.
And I'm Diamond Hard.
And we're coming to you from October the 25th, 1998, from the Las Vegas, Nevada MGM Grand Garden Arena for WCW Halloween Havoc. The WCW World Heavyweight Championship is on the line as Goldberg defends against Diamond Dallas Page.
The People's Champion.
The real People's Champion.
I'm going to tell you about why we use the moniker People's Champion in WCW.
Oh, man. Okay. Could this be the greatest championship winning streak defense of all time?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty damn good.
Okay, so when you talk about, I almost said modern WCW.
When you talk about modern
when you
WCW.
talk about like WCW, pretty much once Hogan joined, so pretty from '94 to the day it died. From that era, this is arguably the best championship main event they ever did.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Notice I said after '94.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because before you got Flair and Steamboat.
Well, and after it gets a little repetitive, right? You had a whole bunch of Hogan. You had a whole bunch of Flair. You had some Macho in there. And I'm not saying that those weren't good. There were some great matches in there.
Macho had a couple of really good matches, one of which against Diamond Dallas Page. More on that in a later episode.
But this, and we'll get into it, obviously, this was maybe the tightest wrestling match I'd ever seen.
Would you like to know why?
Because they only had 11 minutes to work. And the pay-per-view was ending.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but it's because it's DDP. Much like we talked about with Randy Savage, Diamond Dallas Page would write essays on his wrestling
Exactly
matches.
Right. Exactly right. He was well documented as being a guy that had previously worked out every single move he was going to do.
I can guarantee you this match, top to bottom, was planned by Diamond Dallas Page weeks out, and they practiced this shit.
And it was a match that transcended storylines. It didn't matter what the NWO was up to or what Vince McMahon was going to do next. It was the undefeated world champion versus the incredibly over number one contender. It was pro wrestling at its absolute purest form, and God, was it incredible.
I cannot agree more. I am so pumped to talk about this with you guys. Listen, this is episode 73.
What?
Yeah, episode 73.
I stopped counting around 4.
Yeah, I know. We're just still doing it. But I wanted to say a few things before we got into the meat of this episode because there's so much good stuff to talk about. The first of which is we are making history today, right now, as we speak, because this is the first episode of Last Match Standing where Paul is an engaged man.
We sure are.
I'm like, where's he going with this?
That is absolutely
Happy
right.
engagement.
Oh,
to
stop
you.
it. Stop it.
He's a jolly good fella.
It also helps that we're recording a Halloween Havoc episode, and I got engaged on Halloween.
You did.
Oh, we didn't didn't even plan that. I love that.
What do you mean? Of course we planned that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
well, I do think that this is slightly our engagement present because this is a match that Paul has been campaigning for since the very beginning of this show.
This was like on a short list when we first started.
It sure was.
And I feel like this is the match that just wouldn't stay down because we talked about it. We're like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
We just did a WCW match. I don't know how I feel about having Goldberg on the list.
But I think the straw that broke the camel's back for me was we recently went out to Twitter and said, "Hey guys, what do you want to hear? What have we not covered? Hasn't been on the show that is just, oh my god, how have you not done this?" And one of the things that we saw multiple times was this match.
Yeah,
It also helped that just about 3 weeks ago was the 23rd anniversary of this match.
Crazy
Wow.
enough. Crazy enough.
Mr. Diamond Dallas Page posted this match in its entirety from its original live rip. So you had the rip-off songs.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
Smells
that's
like
right.
Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Smells like DDP, baby.
Speaking of Twitter, Landon, I wanted to shout out a good friend of ours, Joey, on Twitter, at OffColorJojo.
I love that
Twitter.
guy.
It's the best. I mean, such a nice guy. We love him.
too.
Yeah. So he said, got
a really good Macho Man impression.
in reference to our CM Punk episode, he was replying, talking about what are your favorite CM Punk moments, right, to How To Wrestling. And he says, as I grew older and also burnt out from working for Coors, something finally clicked for me. I decided to try harder to understand, especially after hearing Last Match Cast cover Punk versus Joe 2 in Ring of Honor. Joe being one of my all-time favorites, I got his in-ring potential talking about CM Punk.
Yes.
So I love that. I mean, that is one of those, I mean, that's in our top 20.
Samoa Joe is one of those guys who he's just not going to be everyone's favorite wrestler. He's got his own look, his own sort of style. But if you're like my wife and really just hates Samoa Joe and can't stand to watch him work, go watch Punk versus Joe.
It's good.
It's so good. Punk versus Joe 2 is the one we covered. They had a series of matches.
Yeah.
It just shows you the kind of the level that this guy is on.
They go on to have a 2 out of 3 falls with a 90-minute time limit.
I mean, but if you want to watch two wrestlers go for 90 minutes, I'll take those two.
I think they do.
100%.
Every day.
I think they go for 90 minutes.
Every day. Maybe we'll see it again.
Maybe so. Could you imagine? I don't know.
I don't know if that one was ever televised.
Man, that's something to think about. But listen, we're super excited here as we move on to the second half of season 4. It's just been so fun this season, and we've got some really, really awesome episodes coming up for you guys to finish the season, including the season finale, which is all that not far away, really.
No, it really isn't. Which
and that's
going to
be a good
scary.
one. We're not going to drop hints yet, but they're coming.
We'll start dropping at 75.
Yeah, probably around there. As a reminder, please feel free to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also on YouTube. We post all of our episodes on YouTube as well, so make sure you're following there. If you want to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, at Last Match Cast is the way to do that. Interact with us. That's the best part of doing the show every single time, is hearing from you guys, letting us know what we haven't covered yet, like this match that you want to hear, but also letting us know, what you liked about our episodes, what you want to see more of, all of that fun stuff. And then also you can join our Patreon, which is so much fun. You get an extra vote in the Twitter polls when we decide to throw those out there to see what matches we're going to cover on our future episodes. And then there's also tiers that get you involved, whether it's a part of our trivia or you're getting able to listen to Last Mania Standing, which we have made a dent in Last Mania Standing.
I know, right?
We really have. Yeah, well, we only have, 10 episodes left until we completed the catalog, right?
know, I'm
I can't
scared.
believe that. That's hard to believe.
Unbelievable.
And the most important thing you get as a patron subscriber is you can get a personalized shout out from me and a voice of your choice.
That is true.
A Paul impression. Can you imagine that?
Only 2 people have done it.
It's
so
time. It's time.
I'm just saying, I'm happy to do them.
I personally want to subscribe to our Patreon just to get that perk.
At this point, I'm just going to be like, look, if you guys want me to do it, just DM me on Twitter. I'll do it.
Paul, can I get the Undertaker in the desert promo, but
my God.
but in the Scott Steiner voice, please?
So I told brother Paul I want to get 2 bikes, but in one of those bikes I only want to have enough gas for the big show to get halfway into the desert and not make it back out.
Wait, pick me. Paul. I can't keep it. Paul, can you do Hulk Hogan when he's talking about swimming and carrying Donald Trump. Can you do that one in the style of Terry Funk?
Oh my God!
So, Donald Trump, whenever you reach out for all of your prized possessions, I just want you to know that let go of all those possessions, because whenever I pick up the big man for the body slam, the fault lines are going to break apart. Trump Twas is going to sink into the ocean. And I'm telling you, I want you to just hop on my back, and I'm going to swing into a backstroke, brother.
I want you to know, he did not prep that.
That was all.
Fucking pulled that out of his ass.
I'll be here all weekend, folks.
Oh my!
This is the
God.
kinds of things you can get as a patron
Oh,
on
yeah.
our Patreon.
If you want to ask
And
how
those
this,
two are free.
if you want to ask how this man got engaged, look no further than the last 90 seconds of this episode.
I think the best part about it is if you follow me on Twitter, you might see the picture of this. I did it dressed as Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
I mean, we expect nothing less, Paul. Just so we have a full frame of what we're talking about here, Halloween Havoc, Goldberg, DDP, on commentary, Tony Schiavone, of course, Bobby Heenan, and Iron Mike Tenay, and referee Mickey Henson, a staple, obviously, in WCW. So that's the framework of what's happening in the building at the time, the MGM Grand Garden Arena. But I want to know how we got there.
Okay, so unfortunately, it's not really it's not a long, like, detailed story.
No, but there are two guys that are involved in the story that I would love to do a little bit of a deep dive.
Oh, absolutely.
As a sort of a career retrospective, if you will.
All right, Dusty.
And Paul, what I'd love for you to do is sort of help me as we get closer to the details of getting to Halloween Havoc 98. Help me with help me fill in the gaps.
Getting to Halloween Havoc is not a very complicated story.
Right.
It's very, very simple.
So, William Scott Goldberg, who, by the way, welcome to the podcast, Goldberg.
Yeah,
Have we not covered Goldberg yet?
How about it?
Well,
Yeah, you probably don't want the answer to that question, but go on.
it's not a very nice answer.
William Scott Goldberg was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Did anybody have Tulsa? Anybody have Tulsa? Because I'm
No.
pretty sure he's always billed from Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, I mean, he's pretty much lived there the last 40 years.
On December 27th, 1966, a son of the classical violinist Ethel and OBGYN Jed Goldberg.
Really?
Of
Those are
course,
his parents.
those two things always
A
make
classical
professional wrestlers.
violinist.
So his mother was a classical violinist, but also breeds flowers. And his mother created an award-winning hybrid orchid, which she literally named after Bill.
Is it called the Borkid?
It's literally no, it's called the Bill Goldberg. There's literally an orchid called the Bill Goldberg.
I want to get an orchid now.
named after Bill.
Wow.
We should go. We should go orchid shopping, guys.
We should. Goldberg.
That is the most random thing I've ever heard in my life. and I love it.
Welcome to Random Facts.
And I love it.
The section of Last Match Standing.
I love that.
Goldberg earned a scholarship to play for the University of Georgia Bulldogs football team.
Yes, he did.
They're
where
doing pretty well right now.
Oh my! Number
Yeah.
one in the country.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
He served as a defensive tackle his time there. He was taken by the Los Angeles Rams in the 11th round of the 1990 NFL Draft. Anybody remember the number one overall pick in the 1990 NFL Draft?
1990
1990?
NFL Draft.
And then I hadn't been born yet.
Neither had I.
I just know how much sports knowledge Spencer has.
Yeah,
in
I
his
know, and I'm
brain.
racking my brain. And as soon as you tell me, I'm going to be like, ugh.
Oh no! I don't know what it is. I just wanted to know if you did.
I thought you had.
God damn it.
What an ass. I thought you had it pulled up. Well, now, thank God we have the internet.
Bo Jackson. I don't know.
Okay, Paul's got Bo Jackson.
Those of you listening right now, get your answers ready.
1990
NFL Draft. The first player drafted would be Jeff George.
Who the fuck is
I would have taken Bill Goldberg.
No, he's 11th round, apparently. Who the hell is Jeff George?
Jeff George.
I've never heard of him.
You cannot trust anybody with two first names.
you
That's
can't.
exactly right. Like me, Landon Corbin.
Corbin Dallas more like.
I have 2 last names. I don't know how that happened, but
Magic.
Landon? You think Landon's a last name?
I have Michael Landon.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a lot of Landons.
There's a few Landons.
Yeah. Quarterback
Landon
from
Donovan
Illinois.
was a very good,
Jeff George.
Jeff George is the quarterback for Illinois.
Yeah, he got drafted to the Indianapolis Colts.
I see.
Yeah, there you go.
Anybody remember the 1990 Indianapolis Colts?
That's well before Peyton Manning, so we don't.
I'll be honest. I kind of forgot they existed once Peyton retired.
Ooh. I got some Carson Wentz action over there.
Andrew Luck was solid until his spleen.
We are now an NFL podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
ladies and
Hello,
gentlemen.
welcome. That's it.
Welcome to the last draft standing, the podcast where you lift and rank every NFL draft.
Unfortunately,
if you want to see it, we'll add it to our picture.
So Bill Goldberg did actually also play for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes, he did.
Unfortunately, his NFL career was cut short when he tore his lower abdomen clean off his pelvis.
Oh,
well, that sounds just awful.
Isn't it wonderful? He had
How does that happen?
mixed emotions about his time in the NFL. He was thrilled that he got to play pro football. I mean, huge, check that off the bucket list.
A real bummer was for the Falcons, but I get it. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Dirty Birds.
Damn dirty birds.
So,
blow
speaking
every
of-
lead they have.
Speaking of him playing for the Falcons, do you know who he played with who has also appeared on Last Mania Standing?
This feels like a trivia question.
Is it the refrigerator?
No. Bill Fralick.
Bill Fralick.
Bill Fralick, who said he would not wrestle Bill Goldberg because that guy's nuts.
Even though Bill Fralick was much larger than Goldberg.
Yeah.
Bill Fralick was the guy at WrestleMania 2 who was almost the same size as Big John Studd. Like, holy shit, this guy's massive.
God, I remember the first time I saw Big John Studd.
Yeah. Bill
That
Fralick
is an
was
intimidating man.
was almost as big as him. And Bill Fralick is the only person who was not a wrestler that took the body slam challenge with Yokozuna seriously and almost body slammed Yokozuna.
Damn.
Whoa. Slow down there, brother. You're not
Damn.
supposed to do it. It's Lex Luger's spot, not yours.
He could have done it too.
Oh, no, he totally picked him up. He had him.
Yeah, so obviously thrilled he got to play, but wishes he could have done more and had a more successful career before the injury. During his rehab, following his NFL injury, Goldberg began powerlifting
Yes, he did.
and mixed martial arts training. While he was doing his training, he was spotted by none other than Lex Luger and Sting, who urged him
Like,
to try out professional wrestling. They said, you'd be great for it. Let's do it.
I'm pretty sure the conversation went like this. They went to Bishop and said, look at this guy. He's money.
Say no more.
Yeah.
And I would argue that Bill Goldberg is the most successful pro football player transition into professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, there are probably a few that I'm overlooking here by saying that, but how can you blame me?
Well, I'm thinking Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. These are two guys that were both.
well, Lesnar went football after.
Yeah. I'm just
So
saying,
so there were. I mean, you could say The Rock, right? But
Yeah.
he was not a pro player,
No, he
right?
played
I'm
in the
saying
Canadian
they
League.
played in the NFL,
Yeah, good point.
and transitioned outside after their NFL career was over
'Cause
for whatever
the
reason.
the transition from the gridiron to the squared circle does not always go that well.
Exactly.
Yeah, good
I
point.
mean, look at Baron Corbin.
And maybe Goldberg isn't the most technically sound wrestler ever, but if you go back and look at his run, and we'll get into some of that right now, he did absolutely incredible work.
I think the thing about Bill, especially in his early days in WCW, is he was so young and he was so ready to go.
Look,
If he was handled right, he could be made to look like a megastar.
he
but
had the
needed-
look. He had the attitude.
He needed the right person in there to basically coach him through these matches to make him look good.
And he did. He had the right people on his side, and most importantly, he came in at the right time.
Yeah, it came in the mid-96, I believe.
The NWO had completely taken over, and they defeated everybody. I mean, the if you can't beat them, join them attitude had completely infected the majority of the WCW roster at this point.
The NWO went from 3 guys to like 18 very fast.
Who could possibly take them out? This was for sure. It had to be a fresh face. It had to be somebody dominant and intimidating. Goldberg checks all these boxes, arrives in WCW at the perfect time. It's a pro wrestling perfect storm.
It's funny you mentioned that Goldberg had to be the guy to do it. Would you like me to recant you at who won the World Heavyweight Championship in the Georgia Dome not 8 weeks before this pay-per-view? Bill Goldberg, with no build, challenges Hogan for the world title and wins in Georgia.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Goldberg's first WCW match was on September 22nd. Wait a minute. 1977. That can't be right.
I believe it was 1997.
That would be really impressive. At the age of 11. Goldberg.
I believe it was 1997.
It was probably 1997. Against a man by the name of Hugh Morris.
What? Are you trying to say you're humor? What? Are you humorous?
So, okay, let me give you this one. Hugh Morris was actually later renamed to General Hugh G. Rection.
Vince Russo, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic.
He actually, Bill Goldberg actually did end up losing a dark match. So much for the undefeated streak. To a Chad Fortune early on in his run. But
was that like you've got one loss in your contract? There it is.
There it is. We got that one out of the way. There were some speed bumps along the way for Goldberg in his rise, in the form of some incredibly close matchups. One notable standout was a straight-up fight that he had with Steven Regal.
Ooh, okay.
And his 6-minute bout, which for Goldberg at that time felt like years, against fellow ex-NFL star Steve Mongo McMichael.
They beat the
had
shit
a
out of each
great
other.
match.
Yeah. Is that Starrcade, wasn't it?
It might have been Starrcade.
I think it's Starrcade 97. They beat the shit out of each other.
Mongo has like the greatest cult Twitter following
Right?
of all time.
Big time.
I think it's fantastic.
Big time.
Apparently CM Punk loves Mongo.
He gained serious notoriety as a top star with an unstoppable winning streak that is still talked about to this day. I mean, it was only a matter of time before Goldberg earned a championship opportunity. And he did on April 20th, 1998, in a Ravens rules match against the United States champion himself. It was actually really great. Raven tries to bail on the match when he realizes it's going south, and the fans throw him back over the barricade to Goldberg. It's great stuff. Go watch it.
So you're saying is the plants threw him back over?
I don't know. I was in it. I was all in it. I believed it.
No, I'm
Goldberg becomes the first undefeated champion in WCW. I don't know. Maybe Vader did it. Was Vader undefeated when he won the WCW title in the early 90s?
That I do not know, but Vader
so
didn't
maybe
lose
the
very
second.
often.
Vader did not lose very often. But I think it's the only. I think he might have been the first to be undefeated when he won the belt. After he had a few title defenses under his belt against such names as Kurt Hennig and Conan. Under his belt.
I see what you did there.
He started using the catchphrase, "Who's next?"
Those were his first words. He didn't talk.
His first word.
In his life.
No. I mean on TV, he didn't talk. There were multiple segments where they're like, "You got to tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Goldberg. Where are you from?" Nothing.
Is that the name of the orchid?
The Who's Next?
Who's Next?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, she missed a trick there.
As Goldberg was getting over as a main eventer, he continued to defend the United States Heavyweight Championship and was slowly becoming a contender for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship that was held by New World Order leader
Hollywood
Hogan. Hogan eventually promised Goldberg a title match. This match was scheduled for the July 6, 1998 episode of Nitro, held at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta.
What I love about the story is they didn't build it as that match. Hogan's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put over Bill tonight.
Well, Hogan actually insisted that Goldberg have to defeat his fellow NWO stablemate first. So Goldberg had a match against Scott Hall and then earned the right to face Hogan in the main event. And he did later that night go on to defeat Hogan, become the WCW heavyweight champion, in turn vacating the United States heavyweight championship. And because a lot of people ask, just like, well, how is he undefeated? And but then he lost the United States championship while he vacated.
Well, you can't like defend the same 2 belts, the same. One of those weird things where it's like they had athletic commissions. You can't do a double defense every night, and if you don't defend the belt every, I think 30 days, it's got to be vacated. So that's why.
The following month at Road Wild, Goldberg won a Battle Royal consisting of NWO members Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Kurt Hennig, Sting, Scott Norton, Lex Luger, The Giant, and Conan.
This is the Battle Bowl?
It was a Battle Royal. I'm not sure if it was the actual Battle Bowl. That'd be a good thing to go back
I think
and
the Battle Bowl was a year earlier.
It was at Road Wild. But just since he beat all of those guys, look, we just listed off the top names in the NWO. All of them one match, done. Goldberg had superseded all threats to his streak. He had single-handedly dethroned the NWO. Who could possibly take him down? That was the appeal of Bill Goldberg in 1998. At this point, we're approaching October, and Eric Bischoff wanted to make Halloween Havoc as big as Starrcade at this point. So he pretty much just tried cramming as many star-studded matches as he possibly could, and it resulted in a very hit-or-miss forced Halloween Havoc 1998 card.
I don't know. We got Jericho versus Raven. I kind of like that one.
Oh, Hogan versus Warrior did not go over
Okay,
very well.
so let's talk about this right now. So Hogan versus Warrior, -5 stars, that match. Are you gentlemen aware that match went over by about 15 minutes?
Did it?
Yes.
I don't know that I've actually put myself through it.
Don't. It's the worst match ever recorded. Do you want to know what happened in the main event?
A lot of people didn't see it.
No.
That bought the pay-per-view did not see it.
Nope.
WCW asked pay-per-view providers for an extension, and in a lot of cases, that did not happen.
No.
So what ends up happening here, and this is one of my favorite little tidbits about this match, is that so many people did not see it.
So
they gave it away for free on Nitro the next night on Monday, and it was the last time Nitro beat Raw in the Monday Night Wars.
Yep.
That the night after Halloween Havoc 1998.
Yeah, so the fans who bought the pay-per-view saw the entrances, they saw the stare down, and that's it.
Gosh, I mean, I know that was just a really quick run-through of getting Goldberg to Halloween Havoc 98. Goldberg started his career in WCW July 97, and as of October 98, he was still undefeated with nearly 170 matches under his belt. Oh, and that belt, by the way, was the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
So when it came time to determine who was going to challenge for the WCW Heavyweight Championship at what Bischoff was trying to make the second biggest show of the year, he was an absolute genius. So let's talk about why Diamond Dallas Page was the right guy for Bill Goldberg.
Well, he won War Games.
He did win War Games.
You asked how we got here. Well, Goldberg's undefeated. DDP won War Games.
Well, DDP, this is the first time that we are talking about Diamond Dallas Page on Last Match Standing.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And I've been chomping at the bit to do this retrospective.
I know,
so
I know.
this segment's going super long, but just bear with me.
Dallas's story is a very interesting one.
It's so good. Okay, so Page Joseph Falkenberg, the eldest of 3 children, born in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, son of Sylvia and Page Falkenberg Sr.
What plants did they invent?
None. Well, we can't talk about that on air. Falkenberg ran a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida, called Norma Jean's, known for its pink Cadillac, which we will get back to.
Yep.
While he was working as a wrestling manager in the American Wrestling Association. He started managing in 1988, where he handled Bad Company. And Bad Company was the tag team of Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka, a team that he led to the AWA World Tag Team Championship.
Do you know who else those 2 guys were?
Who's that?
The Orient Express.
The Orient Express. Sure enough.
How about
Sure
it?
enough.
How about it?
During his time in the AWA, Falkenberg also managed Colonel De Beers, Kurt Hennig, and Medusa Michelli as the leader of the Diamond Exchange stable. So he was
What
all
a great
about
name for a stable.
all
I
about
like to say.
Diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond Dallas's first Pro match occurred in May of 1989 against Dick Slater in Florida Championship Wrestling. Do you know where he took the Dallas name from? Anybody? Any guesses?
From the soap opera?
Nope.
I would not have guessed that. That's interesting. I have no idea.
He was a huge, and I'm sure still is, Dallas Cowboys fan.
That makes sense.
If we were going back to NFL references.
Yeah,
here.
there we are.
In 1990, Dallas received a tryout with the WWF as an announcer. But he was not offered the job. Instead, he was asked to... he got an invite to WrestleMania 6.
Where he drove the pink Cadillac for
And he brought that
Rhythm and
pink
Blues.
Cadillac. Sure did. I mean, what an iconic bar. I wish I could have seen that nightclub
No kidding.
with the pink Cadillac. After FCW closed its doors, however, Page went back to managing his nightclub with the pink Cadillac until he received that famous call from Dusty Rhodes. Page came to WCW in 1991, where he managed the fabulous Freebirds to the NWA Tag Team Championships. Not long after that, he decided, at the advice of Magnum TA, to start training at the WCW power plant.
You know how old he was?
34.
Yeah. One of the latest starts for a wrestler.
Absolutely incredible story.
Like him and Batista. Probably
Yeah,
two big
no
examples
kidding.
of guys that got into they were already in their 30s and they started training.
And I mean, it's just so encouraging because this is his attitude. This is DDP's mantra. After entering the pro wrestling world later in life, his mantra was outwork everyone.
And he did.
And that is exactly what he did. And this is a quote that I pulled from DDP about this sort of stage in his life. He says, "Bischoff gave me the job, and I was as good an example of work ethic, passion, and someone that cares about the business as you could find. Since they wouldn't really book me, I went down to the WCW power plant every day that I wasn't working. That's how you adapt to adversity. Even when I started to make it, I still kept going back.
Oh, yeah.
Until I was on the road for 260 days a year plus, I was still going to that power plant. For 5 years I went there because that's how long it took me to get to the top." He's just all about working and working and working as hard as you possibly can. It didn't matter to him that he was 34 years old. He wanted to make it in the business. He cared about the business. He loved the business, so he worked his ass off to get where he gets by the time we get to Halloween Havoc
and
98.
he became one of the biggest stars in the history of that company.
And this is a guy that is about not just making himself better, but as we see later in his life, making others better.
Absolutely.
So how do you not root for this man? The people's champion, right? Like, how do you not root
Just
for him?
one of the kindest hearts in the greatest minds.
Yeah.
And that combination is absolutely unmatched, in my opinion. DDP worked with a host of wrestlers throughout his stable, the Diamond Mine, including the Diamond Stud,
Scott Hall,
Scotty Flamingo,
Raven,
and Vinny Vegas.
Kevin Nash.
That's exactly right. I'm so proud of you, Paul.
I have a massive trivia for you. Okay, so Vinny Vegas was in a tag team with a wrestler named Big Sky.
Okay.
This is very obscure.
Vaguely remember this.
That's
Do
an
you-
athletic conference.
Do you want to know who Big Sky is?
Big Sky. That was
It's
You
gonna
can do
blow.
it.
It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
Sid Vicious.
No, it was not Sid Vicious.
Okay.
He replaced Sid Vicious.
Okay.
When the movie X-Men came out in 2000, Kevin Nash was offered the role of Sabretooth. He turned it down because he was still under contract with WCW. However, his tag team partner Big Sky, Tyler Mane, took that role.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Sabretooth?
Yeah. He was in that stable.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he tagged with Vinny Vegas.
That's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
But while recovering from a torn rotator cuff injury in the 1993 to 1994, DDP was determined to continue improving his character. So he felt like, okay, in-ring work is there. I've got this stable. I'm doing okay, but something is missing. So he sought out the help of none other than Jake the Snake Roberts.
Well, if anybody knows character,
Oh, yeah.
who advised him on the psychological aspects of the business, which in my mind, there is no better man
No kidding.
to learn from.
God.
Psychology.
Man, that is a guy that when he's on screen, you are
You pay attention.
watching.
You pay
Yeah,
attention.
absolutely.
His philosophy was speak soft. They won't they'll pay attention to you. I don't know. They won't speak up. So no, don't speak louder. They'll be quiet and they'll listen to what you have to say.
But and you got that. But when he spoke soft, it didn't sound like he was just speaking soft to speak. It made sense whenever he did that. When Diamond Dallas Page returned, he had a new gimmick alongside his wife Kimberly and bodyguard Max Muscle.
Max Muscle. We're never going to talk about him again.
Not once. He saw some success with this reinvention, winning the WCW television title from The Renegade. Speaking of men we won't talk about again. Ooh. At Fall Brawl 1995. You know what? The Renegade was not half bad, to be fair.
Yeah, no, he was.
Okay. Well,
they-
just in the
they-
off chance that he listens to this, I don't want him to think, man, those guys are assholes.
Well, he won't be listening to this. Trust me. So basically, the Renegade. If we're gonna talk about him, they wanted to replicate we signed Hulk Hogan. Let's do a big number. Let's get the Ultimate Warrior. No. Let's get this stripper that looks like the Ultimate Warrior and package him as the Ultimate Renegade. No, I'm sorry, the Renegade Warrior. They dropped Warrior, the Renegade.
Yeah, that is, and if you look at his character, that's exactly.
And you want to know the sad
what
part
it
about
is.
it is? It worked. They got
It
a really,
did
a
work.
really big buy rate.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
well, why do you think he was the WCW television champion?
because he looked like the Ultimate Warrior. And then the real world, that's not me. And then they kind of killed his push.
But he did eventually lose the WCW television championship in a loser leaves town match to the Booty Man.
Big brother booty. Shake, 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 shake.
Woo! When DDP returned in 1996, he was again reimagined as a tweener character, which that's one of my favorite pro wrestling terms.
Tweener. I
Tweener.
love it. Yeah.
And he entered the Lord of the Ring tournament, which he won. The winner of the Lord of the Ring tournament was supposed to be the number one contender for the world title, which at the time was held by the Giant. However, he did not receive that title shot.
No, because a little thing called the NWO came in and rewrote everything. They dropped every single story they had going forward, and everything was focused on NWO.
Pretty much. Instead, Page was found himself feuding with none other than Eddie Guerrero when the New World Order was formed. Since then, in the middle of this feud, Nash and Hall, both former partners of Page, as we discussed earlier, they assisted him in his matches. And so it was almost looking like, is Page thinking about joining NWO? Like, what's going on? And they get to the match for the vacant United States Heavyweight Championship. And believing, let's see, assistant.
Technical difficulties there, folks. Yeah.
Believing their assistance was not appreciated, however, Hall and Nash attack Diamond Dallas Page before the tournament final match, therefore essentially handing the belt to Eddie Guerrero. Now, DDP knew how to get the fans to love him, right? I mean, this was just, it came natural. He's a natural, likable guy. But what really helped sell DDP as the top babyface was this moment. After Hall and Nash cost DDP the United States Championship, they essentially try and convince them that, oh, we were just trying to recruit you, man. We're just showing you what it could be like if we were on your side, man. I don't know why I'm doing an Eddie accent for this. This is Hall and Nash. If he joined the NWO...
Why'd you do it, Ray?
I'm your puppy. And essentially, Page fakes them out. He's like, okay, give me the shirt. He puts the shirt on and double turns them, and he gets a huge pop. And this essentially
it was a monstrous
solidifies DDP as a top babyface.
Well, he's like the first guy that got to him. He got them both. They both eat a diamond
That's
cutter.
exactly right. He's the first guy to stand up to the NWO.
And not just get crushed or join them a week later.
Exactly. Page then enters into an extended feud with the NWO, leading to his first pay-per-view main event against Randy Savage and his first major championship win at Starrcade in '97 when he defeated Kurt Hennig for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship.
I love the story about him having that match with Macho, because the way he tells the story is he walked in like to the Gorilla, and they said, "What do you think?" And then he said, Macho Man says, "I think the Macho Man should take Diamond Cutter tonight."
Ooh.
He put him over. He was like the only. He was like,
I love that.
Macho was like the only guy in the WWE was like, "Yeah, I'll build a new star." Yeah, he wasn't like the rest of the guys who was like, "No, brother, I got to be on top for everything." No. I'll build new stars. That way we can have bigger matches down the line. Macho understood the wrestling business, and he loved giving back to it.
I love that. I just. If I could go back and meet one man
Randy's
before he died, I wish I could have gotten to shake that man's hand. You know what I mean?
He probably would have appreciated it too.
And I never got to see him. I was never in the same room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that I got to see guys like Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
But God, I never got to see Randy Savage. I think Diamond Dallas Page was also the first wrestler that I can remember to go into the crowd to celebrate with the fans.
Oh yeah, he did it all the time
after he won a match. Like, I don't think Hogan ever did that.
Hell no, he'd been stabbed. People hated Hogan.
He would have been stabbed.
Look, all I'm saying is a lot of these like Nitro and pay-per-views, the tickets were papered and there was free beer. So those are some rowdy fans. They hated Hogan.
A little while later at Fall Brawl, Diamond Dallas Page wins War Games and earns a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship against the undefeated Goldberg at Halloween Havoc 1998.
So, fun fact about that War Games, that was the actual debut of the Ultimate Warrior. So
Yes.
it's been affectionately referred to as Warrior Games.
That's right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And speaking of the Renegade, who was the lookalike, they used him as a double for the Ultimate Warrior in a trapdoor spot. Where he
nice.
He appears in the ring before Warrior comes out. They're like, "What's going on here?" And then he's gone. Yeah, that trapdoor. They didn't tell the town about that.
Little Renegade trivia for you.
Yeah.
File that under things you never asked for.
There you go. So, gentlemen, we've gotten to the match. So, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching at home around the world,
Bruce Buffer. Oh, no,
Ladies and
Michael Buffer.
gentlemen.
Michael Buffer.
let's get ready to rumble! All right, I'll take my $250,000 check now. Thank you very much.
And he leaves the building immediately.
That's what he
Hey,
did.
listen, he put in some work though on these introductions. He did more than just let's get ready to rumble.
Diamond Dallas Page.
I mean, there's a reason he's one of the best in the business.
There's a reason.
I don't know. Starrcade 97, where he just has like a paragraph of Hogan's accolades.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh no, I love it.
Okay.
He has the most perfectly sculpted physique in the history of professional wrestling.
So that reminds me, this is another story that no one asked for, but there's a really, really great clip that travels on Twitter every now and then. And it's a golf. Listen, for those golf fans that are also wrestling fans, the two of you that are out there, there's a really great.
And ironically, they both listen to this show.
Right. It's me playing it back.
And yeah, one of them was going to the Young Lions tournament.
But one of the I see what you did there. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are in the final group. They're paired together for a tournament, and they do introductions. And when they do introductions, sometimes they read things off. And so it was Tiger Woods' turn to tee off, and the woman announcer is saying, winner of the 1997 Masters Tournament, winner of the 2000 Masters Tournament, winner of the 2000 U.S. Open, winner of the 2000 Open Championship, winner of the WGC 2001, winner of, like, goes on, and Phil at one point just goes, okay, we get it. We get it. And stops her, and I think it's just a funny moment.
We get it.
Yeah, but
that's how all of Hogan's pay-per-view entrances were.
We
just accolade after accolade
get it.
after accolade
Exactly.
after accolade.
I love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The greatest icon in professional wrestling today. Like, no, you're not. You're not.
Of yesterday, perhaps.
Of yesterday, yeah.
But yeah, here we are. So Buffer introduces DDP. He introduces Goldberg. And guys, this has the literal definition of big fight feel.
Oh my
And
God.
in my opinion, Goldberg's best entrance Oh,
God, you know, and I've liked Goldberg's entrance. You know, like it's really, really cool. But
I'm a sucker for his entrance.
there is something about this one specifically where it's just like it
the
follows
fact
him all the
Steadicam
way out.
follows him, yeah, and then comes back
Yeah.
around and he does like the walk to the ring. It's all one shot. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
God, it's so good.
They never let him do that in WWE. They
The Halloween-
always would cut and
They
then there'd be
would.
another camera. They would never let you see behind Gorilla.
The Halloween Havoc set, by the way,
It's so cool. The big demon.
Yeah, big demon behind the pumpkin this time.
Snickers branding.
Crunch this. Yeah, we love the Snickers. I love the Halloween Havoc set every time. This is actually the third Halloween Havoc match we've had.
Yeah.
On our main list.
Yeah,
which
we've
is
got
crazy.
97 and 2 from 98, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it feels like a good time to announce this. Halloween Havoc, last Havoc standing is our next.
There's 12 of
When we
them.
finish Last Mania standing, we got to do something.
I think we should do Starcade.
Might.
Yeah, it's worth considering.
Right.
We'll talk about it. But yeah, big fight feel from the very beginning. And this is a match, and it's a Goldberg match, right? So we know it's not going to be super long. It's 10 minutes and 29 seconds, which is lengthy for a Goldberg match, all
Very.
things considered. But this is a match that, you know, you got the People's Champion, DDP, and you got the 154-0 Goldberg World Heavyweight Championship on the line. God, you know, the build was perfect, Landon.
It really
and I
was.
think it was the great setup for what was a really tremendous matchup.
I love this because typically the way a Goldberg match would start is he would just charge in the opponent and just take him out.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that this one, Page, like, fuck you, let's do a lockup. And
Yes.
he just gets thrown into the corner.
This is one of those rare moments in wrestling history, or at least rare in the 90s, when the crowd was genuinely wanting both men to succeed.
Oh,
They want it's a both these guys moment. The energy is electric. Cheers go out for both guys throughout the whole match, and you just know everybody's leaving this match happy,
And
regardless of what
I love
happens.
how hot the crowd is because they have no business being hot after the previous match. No
But how could
business.
you not be?
Well, just both entrances. DDP comes out and Mita runs through the crowd. Is like, fuck yeah, let's do this. This is my moment. I'm gonna fucking win the heavyweight championship.
And what I appreciate so much about this, because this is something that that I noticed as we sort of have covered WCW matches and matches that we've thought about have to make our list but haven't made it. And part of the reason why they don't is because sometimes they're just generally overbooked.
They
and
are.
This
Is not.
was not that case.
There's no bullshit in this match. It's a straight up wrestling
and
match,
I love it for that.
which is so rare for 98.
I love the collision in the middle of the ring that starts this match. Goldberg sort of pushing DDP back off again and again and again.
Push him. He fucking throws him
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
But Page keeps coming back and having a counter for it the next time,
I
right?
was saying, think about Page. He's like, I wouldn't keep trying the same move. I would learn. So that third time, he does an arm drag, which pisses Bill off, and they fucking tumble to the outside.
They tie up again and they end up on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch it. Go watch it right now.
And I just love that because we actually get to see Goldberg use some of that MMA training that he has. He goes for like the cross arm breaker here.
He does. He absolutely does.
Oh my God, the counter for counter, right? It's the series is like they go into a headlock, reverse to a wristlock takedown. Oh, but then he's going to leg sweep. Oh no, Goldberg's got to counter for the leg sweep.
Because
How about a back handspring
That-
from a 275-pound man?
That may have been one of the most athletic things I have ever seen, and I was just like, number
Oh,
one.
dude.
Number one. Put it on the
Go
list.
back and watch Goldberg's early matches. He can fucking go.
That's
he was
insane.
he was a super athlete. He was very athletic.
It was one of the first times on this show where I've literally paused the match and gone back and rewatched that probably about 15 times.
Listen,
before I continued.
The only handspring that I can think of that I've seen that is more impressive than Goldberg's is from our most recent episode of Last Mania Standing when Snooki did it at WrestleMania 27.
Oh yeah, because she does like 2
about
backflips.
to
I'm like,
say.
whoa. And that's like all she does too. Then she does the fucking cartwheel big
Spencer,
splash.
I guarantee you that sentence you just uttered was the very first time that Goldberg and Snooki were in the same sentence.
Probably.
Guarantee.
God, we're making more history here.
I know
on
we
Last
don't.
Man
I know
Standing
we
here
don't
tonight.
normally do favorite moments, but I thoroughly enjoyed Page, like you said, that counter sequence where Page goes for a drop toe hold and Goldberg just powers out of it. So DDP tries to go for the wrist lock, and he's just doing it to the hammer lock. But Goldberg is so strong, he just completely powers out of the hammer lock. And I'm like, well, what the fuck are you gonna do?
It's impressive. The fireman's carry transitions.
Man.
Right into an arm breaker, like you said, Paul. I mean, this is just a holy shit moment.
He didn't just do it. He grabs DDP's arm, he like wraps around it, and he does a complete spin around the body and roll through. And I'm like, that's what actual MMA fighters do. Like the way he locks it in. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's caught in that cross arm breaker. DDP gets to the ropes, creates some separation with a jawbreaker.
And what I love about that moment is Iron Mike Tenay,
Yes.
who is going to sit there and tell you there's two ways he can get out of this. One of them is the ropes. The other is if he clasps his hands together, right? And he's like, he listen, he got to the ropes. That's one of the two ways to do it. And Mike Tenay is just somebody that we can gush about every single time he's on the pod, right?
There's a reason why he's in my favorite commentary duo of all time.
Right, exactly.
He's
and
good.
It's for moments like that. And you're absolutely right. He does get the rope break with the arm and then the jawbreaker. And even at this point in 98, seeing Goldberg take any offensive moves is
sell it.
What's happening. Yeah, and he's selling it, absolutely.
One of my favorite spots they do is I forget what I don't remember what transition. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Page is going for like a Russian leg sweep, and then Goldberg stops him. So Page puts him in a front face lock and drops down to the mat.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, I'll hold that Goldberg can't break. Just ask Chris Jericho.
I love that. DDP goes to the outside, and they just have this stare off for a moment. And it's almost as if both men they've started the feeling out process, and they're trying to come up with their next move. And this match is just stalemate after stalemate. It's incredible.
It feels so much like, and this is an interesting thing, and I'm going to make another football reference if I may, but these two guys were not just athletes trying to get the better of each other, right? It read to me the whole time like two coaches. Like that sort of mindset. Does that make sense? Where it's like, this is a chess game, and we're trying to figure out what is our next move that gives us the advantage.
Exactly right.
And just that look of them making eye contact is exactly that.
What did you guys think of the one-armed suplex by Goldberg?
Oh my God. Boy, do I love a head trap arm whip from Bill Goldberg. I've never seen anyone else do that move.
Because they're probably not strong enough to fucking do it.
He's so versatile from that position too, right? I mean, because he's got your arm down. He's got his arm around your head, right? So that could be a suplex. It could be a DDT.
Throws him.
He could throw you over, or that's also the setup for the jackhammer.
I remember so many times making creative wrestlers in video games and thinking like, God, how many of these freaking like moves are we going to have from this, this position here?
A lot.
Because a ton of them, they came all from Goldberg, because he was absolutely it was just like, I'm going to put you in this position and I can go 100 different ways from here.
I love that.
So one thing I really love is we get a big boss man as sidewalk slam, baby.
Yes.
Oh. And I'm like watching this match, and I'm like, so Goldberg really could go. I think the problem was he had people in his ear telling him, no, just do your 3 moves and kill guys in 90 seconds.
Well, because he had 2-minute matches. So many of them were 2-minute matches, and this one, even for what it is only 11.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, this is all Page's stuff. But it just goes to show that if you walked Bill through a match, he could do it.
How about Page hitting a running head scissors?
Oh, that was beautiful.
I mean, come on.
Men this size.
I mean, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the people's champion. That's who would do that.
Goldberg, at this point, goes in for a shoulder tackle in the corner.
Oh.
And this is maybe the most important moment of the whole match.
Yes, it is.
Page moves out of the way, and Goldberg hits the post, which creates an incredible opportunity for Diamond Dallas Page.
He hits the post and rolls to the outside.
And that, of course, was DDP's idea.
Yeah.
Goldberg wasn't thrilled about missing the spear.
No, he wasn't.
But by him missing it into the post, you're exactly right. It gave an opportunity. And suddenly, Goldberg isn't weak. He just got hit, right, on the
now
post.
He's wounded.
And there's an opportunity there.
Fun fact, he actually blew out his shoulder right here.
I didn't know that.
Yep, he did. So that's why we get the ending things we get. He didn't think he could pick up Dallas for the diamond cutter for the jackhammer. That's why they do what they do.
Page Page hits a diving clothesline and sort of keeps Goldberg down. But when Goldberg gets back up, he gets an idea. And I love how intentional this is. He goads Goldberg into reversing an Irish whip. Because you see that all the time, right? Guys don't know what to do. They go for an Irish whip. Maybe they do big back body drop or a big boot. And it's just kind of gotten stale over the years. Mm-hmm. That's not what DDP does. He says, okay, I'm going to Irish whip. The typical reaction would be for him to try and reverse it. So here's what I'll do. He comes back from a reversed Irish whip into a one-armed flying DDT. Absolutely flawless.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And the fact that it totally looked extremely intentional. Yeah. And that he goaded it in. I just loved it.
Mm-hmm. Moment I really enjoy is whenever Dallas, all right, he's hurt. Diamond cutter, baby. But he eats a big spear.
Spear out of nowhere. Good God. Goldberg spears are absolutely explosive.
But here's the thing about this one. He hit with that injured right shoulder.
Yes.
And so you're thinking, wait a minute, because Dallas gets up before Goldberg does after that one. It's like, okay, he couldn't put everything into that spear, and now he's softened that shit up even more. This man can't do the jackhammer now. And that's when he actually goes in for the diamond cutter.
There is such a cool moment. I'm so sorry, Landon, to cut you off. There's such a cool moment there when Goldberg does try to go for a jackhammer, right? And he can't lift him. And I love this Bobby Heenan line. I can't go an episode where he's on it where I can't mention a Bobby Heenan line. They're talking about Goldberg, like, oh, can he do the jackhammer with only one arm? And Heenan goes, he could do it with no arms. And I love that. But he ultimately can't. He can't get the jackhammer. And we do get that crisp diamond cutter.
And it really feels like Diamond Dallas Page could win this match.
It felt so much like it. The thought that kept going through my mind in this moment was, this is the second Sweet Chin music in the WrestleMania 25 match against The Undertaker, where you're like, oh, fuck.
That's it.
This is going to happen. The streak is going to end.
And I love it because the crowd popped almost as hard as I did. I jumped up. I scared the shit out of my dog.
Yeah.
They're like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
And unfortunately, he cannot capitalize. Similar to Goldberg. I mean, he's taken a lot of damage. It's just not enough. Goldberg kicks out at 2 after giving a little bit of time to recover before the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Page, at this point, makes a huge mistake that ends up costing him the match. He tries to suplex Goldberg,
who then turns the momentum into the jackhammer.
A dangerous position. And it proves to be fatal for DDP's chances here.
He made one mistake.
Just like somebody else made one mistake.
Yeah, right? The similarities there. Super interesting.
The respect after the match.
Oh, my God. I can't get enough of it.
Even has Bobby Heenan in a good mood. Did you notice that?
Yeah, even Bobby Heenan's like, God, I almost would never do this, but I got to respect DDP. That's what he says. And he's like, this is what it's all about.
Bobby Heenan says this.
Yeah.
Well, you could tell they were really enjoying this match. Because Bobby Heenan was notorious on WCW commentary for just being like, oh, look, another, like they're wrestling, and who just make a couple of off-color remarks because he clearly didn't want to be there. He was just there because he's getting paid. He didn't give a shit. You can tell when he really enjoyed the match because he really got into it.
Do you think at this point, and I know that so many people have talked about this, but at this point, the tide has obviously been turning in WWE's favor. Yeah. Things are obviously going in that direction. So does this feel like, if you're sitting there in the commentary booth, if you're one of those 3 guys, are you thinking like, this is maybe our last great main event?
I mean, it is, but I don't think they're thinking that.
That's an interesting question.
I agree with Paul. Yeah.
I think they're going, all right, let's see them top this up north.
I see.
Because, spoiler, they didn't.
No.
Summer 98 is some of the worst pay-per-views in WWE. Mm-hmm. They're pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, SummerSlam was meh.
Yeah.
The follow-up from SummerSlam Breakdown, it is a breakdown. It's not a very good show. So it's weird because, like, the Raws are good, but the pay-per-views were just not that good. In WCW, TVs were okay, but they were having some really good shows. Like Summer 98, they had some pretty good ones. They're not amazing. And Halloween Havoc is not a perfect show, but That's a damn good main
But
event.
it's a mega card that
It is.
ends with that incredible main event.
It's a damn good main event. But the problem was nobody fucking saw it.
That cost them, obviously,
It really
in a lot
did.
of ways.
And like you said, the next night on Nitro is the last time they won the ratings. This is arguably the beginning of the end for that company. They last for 3 more years, but how could you have such a great moment and fuck it up that bad?
Yeah, and that's a real shame. And it's interesting. You can tell. I felt I was so transported to 1998 because as Goldberg is sitting there raising DDP's hand, and we have this incredible moment, right? Goldberg is giving this respect to his challenger. You hear Tony saying, "This is what it's about, not about setting people on fire," and like he's taking a direct shots at WWE in that moment, and that bummed me out a little bit.
It did me too, but like he's saying that because like, I mean, going toward this, we had Unforgiven 98, which ended with
Yeah.
Kane getting set on fire. Then Kane had 2 or 3 pay-per-views in a row where it's like, if I don't win, I'm going to set myself on fire. Like, it's like, Ben's like, fuck, I want to see that happen. And, we got to watch a 10-minute wrestling match first.
Well, and I understand that, like, let's look
He
at
was-
those guys. They're not doing great. But my thought process is, like, we just had one of maybe the best moments in the history of our company.
Yeah.
Let it speak for
Let
itself.
it speak for itself.
Yeah.
And that's what disappointed me about it a little bit.
And I'm pretty sure Tony's like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. He's been very open, like, I said some things in the heat of the moment that I wish I didn't say, like that one. The other one was the Mankind won the title. That's going to put butts in seats. That line was fed to him. He didn't say that because Mick Foley was his friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee you that was Eric Bischoff. I'm like, fuck that guy. We fired him and now he's over there.
Speaking of Eric Bischoff,
Yes.
did you know the only reason that DDP did not get the belt on this night, Spencer knows what I'm about to say, was because Goldberg was already booked to be on Entertainment Weekly.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Dusty and Eric seriously considered giving the belt to Diamond Dallas Page and letting him break the streak.
They should have. Could you imagine?
Well, and DDP says it would have been a lot for him to swallow, me beating him. But the Diamond Cutter was so over at that time, it would have really made sense.
It would have been the
But
right time.
That is what it is.
Armchair Booker right here. Jackknife. Goldberg hits that jackknife, but but for whatever reason, he doesn't cover him right away, or he's like gloating, or he injures the shoulder and has to roll around, and he just can't quite get the pin. It gives DDP about a good 8 or 9 seconds, so that way he can convincingly kick out, which had not been done. Oh my God, he kicked the jackhammer. He gets up. He signals for it, hits the Diamond Cutter. 1, 2, 3. Could you imagine the eruption in that arena? Could you imagine?
And to Landon's point, like, people wanted both of them to win, but if the Diamond Dallas Page, moment would have happened and he would have gone over, that place would have absolutely erupted.
And that way you don't have to beat him with a cattle prod a few months later.
God, don't get me started.
So look, do I wish they could have gone another 15 or 20 minutes? Absolutely.
Maybe not 15, maybe a solid 5.
Would it have been this good?
Probably.
I don't know.
No, with Dallas, I think it would have. I think Dallas could have built 3 to 4 more 3 minutes. I think he could have packed in 3 more convincing minutes. It would have built that crowd because I'm pretty sure it's like, oh man, this is really good. We're almost there. We got 2 sequences left. Diamond Cutter, and this crowd's gonna lose it because you could hear them.
But regardless, what we got is one of the greatest championship matches in professional wrestling history.
And it's one of the most despised wrestlers in the business.
God, we talk about so often when we are trying to come up with who makes this list, right? We've talked so much about moments. Like, does a match that's more of a moment deserve a spot on this list? And this is a match that is both a great wrestling match and also a great moment.
Oh, yeah. And I can already hear people going, oh, you put Goldberg in your list. Yeah, we also put Hulk Hogan, so you got to take the good with the bad, guys.
Let's get into it. You sort of had a precursor to this earlier, but favorite moments of DDP Goldberg.
Jesus Christ. The counter sequences.
The counter sequence.
Where-
Give me the handspring.
The handspring into
Crown him.
the the handspring is the leg sweep, and so it's like, how do you counter a leg sweep? Well, I'll just backflip over it. But then DDP goes into another leg sweep immediately after he lands, and
it's
that
beautiful.
gets him.
Yeah.
It's so quick and intentional. I just loved it.
For the moments where you can actually see that, man, if Goldberg really applied himself, he could have been a pretty good wrestler. Like, he had the fundamentals. He just was encouraged to not use them. Like, I 100% put all of Bill's fallbacks onto guys like Bischoff, like Hogan, and Nash. Tell him, no, don't listen to them. Just do your 3 moves and kill everybody in 90 seconds. Because, like, can you imagine if he spent the amount of time that Page spent in the power plant?
Well, I mean, you see the things like the big sidekicks from Goldberg, right? Like, he is athletic as they come. And it is a shame because this is something that sticks with him his entire career. Even, these recent matches that he's had now, they're still 90-second matches. And so it's disappointing that you can see someone like Goldberg that's got all the talent he could possibly manage. And
Because he's a damn good athlete.
Yeah, and we don't see all of it all the time. But I'm so grateful that we get moments like this.
But I say
that,
but if it wasn't for him doing the 90-second squashes, when he does break shit out, you're like, oh, he can do that?
And honestly, and listen, we're sitting here talking about how that's a shame, but it made him one of the most over wrestlers of all time.
It really did.
So
you can't really argue with it because...
Yeah, who are we to say? Man, this to me is, if I'm going to do favorite moments, the Diamond Cutter moment, just because... It is, you can just like, the people are on the edge of their seat, right? And you can feel it's the precipice of something insane happening. And does it happen? Not quite. But that Diamond Cutter is such a good moment. And I think it's maybe one of the best in WCW history.
To quote Vince McMahon, it's good shit.
So I had never seen this match prior to this watch.
I had not either.
And I cannot wait to go back and watch this match over and over and over and over and over again.
Same. Could not agree more. The challenging part, however, is that we do, for the 73rd time, have to rank this match among the greatest of all time. As a reminder for you friends at home, as our list stands here, a little over midway through season 4, number 1 on our list is Triple H Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 2002. Number 72 on our list is TLC 1, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian from SummerSlam 2000. So I don't know that this will be 1. I don't know that it will be 72, but I'm sure it will fall somewhere in between. So
it'll definitely come above 72.
Yeah, I would say so. I would absolutely agree with that. Any volunteers to go first here?
I want to go first because I'm going to make you guys really mad with my range. Wow. How do you rank this?
Well, you say a number and you hope that you two don't argue with it.
And it's an interesting point because
that's how you rank.
But this is, when we talk about what to compare it to me, there's not a ton on this list we can compare it to.
So it's such a tight match. There's so many counters, and that's all thanks to DDP, as we talked about. These men are on their game. There's no filler. There's no fluff. There's no mistakes. One thing working against this match is that it's forgotten a little bit, right? It had the whole mishap with going off the air for the pay-per-view audience.
Fault. That was Hogan and Warrior's fault.
Yeah, it was shown the next night on Nitro for free. We shouldn't let that factor in, right? I mean, that's not a factor.
Because we're ranking the match, not the circumstances surrounding the match.
So, I mean, my floor, if I had to look, down, towards the bottom half of the list, something around 57, like an RVD versus Jerry Lynn. Like, talk about tight wrestling matches, damn near flawless right there. Just fighting to see who the better man is. Another tight wrestling match on our list. Maybe something like Bret Hart versus British Bulldog, right? Talking about having something completely planned out, or like, Randy Savage. Where is Randy Savage and who was that? Randy Savage and Steamboat.
14.
So see, this is my range. You know what I'm talking about? Like
14 to 57. That's a pretty big range.
Okay. Maybe I wouldn't go all the way up to 14, but I think maybe my ceiling would be 23. Maybe something like Nakamura Ibushi, or 19, which was Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask. That's sort of the territory of a perfect match.
So 24 to 57.
Or 20. I might even do 20.
That's still a pretty big range.
It is, and which is why I wanted to go first.
That's fair. That's fair. So my range is a little bit smaller. It's more like the 42 range. Yeah, it's at 42. No, I'm kidding. 42 to I'm gonna say about 51, somewhere there, in that kind of like it's. I mean, it's technically upper tier.
Interesting. Paul, you are much lower than I anticipated. And I don't know why.
Really?
But you are a little lower than I anticipated. Because there is an argument here. I think absolutely there's an argument for getting into that upper echelon of our list.
I feel like if we go as low as 42, like, it's kind of in the middle. Not but it won't be in the middle for 25 more episodes. It'll still be in the upper spot. I mean, I say like 51, 52. I would probably keep it in like low 40s, high 30s. If that helps. My problem is when I look at the matches that are in the 30s, I'm like, ugh. None of them go, oh, it's way better than that one, or so. No, it's similar to this one, or
it's
kind of like
starting to get. And we've talked about this. You know, every episode we do, it gets more and more of a hair splitting.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at number 31. That's Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. That is probably the most pure wrestling match we have on here. I don't know if I would go above that for this one, but this has the stakes of the World Heavyweight title where that one does not. So it's a difficult decision. Like, does the fact that it's the main event, it's the biggest main event in the company's history for the biggest title in the company at the time, whereas this match was more like, no, this is like a third from the top because John Cena's got to be the main event, brother. So it's really, really difficult. So
greatest wrestling match of all time. Which one between those two would you say?
Honestly, I kind of like this one more, and that's me going, I don't know, man.
But that's a factor, right? It's rewatchability. It's if you had to put the two next to each other, which one would you show somebody first?
I'm always going to go with the shorter match because a new wrestling fan is not going to want to sit through a 25-minute clinic because they're not going to appreciate that until they've probably in their second or third year of watching wrestling.
Well, but we're not just ranking it based off of if you would show to somebody.
If you ask me which one you're going to go back to first, I'm going to go back to this one because this one it's snappy, it's quick, it's exciting.
It's fun to watch.
It is. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit is also very fun to watch, but that's because they're two technical wizards.
Is it a better wrestling match?
I think it's a better wrestling match, but the overall, when you get into the overall, everything, every factor, I think the commentary is significantly better here than it is for that Royal Rumble 2003.
I agree. I greatly agree.
I would much rather hear Shivani, Heenan, and Tenay over fucking Jerry Lawler and Jonathan fucking Coachman.
Oh, God.
Forgot about that one, did you?
So
I sure did.
If you want to go there, I would put this as the new 31. That's my floor. My ceiling is like I still say around 42 because part of me, I really love that Randy Orton Mick Foley match.
Yeah, so 31, 42.
31 to 42, we'll say.
Yeah, in there.
My range is slightly tighter, not than that, but then the way you two guys started. I was sitting somewhere between 28 and 39.
Okay, so you're kind of in between us.
Yeah, so 28 is currently Ishii Shibata.
Oh my God, Tomohiro Ishii.
Mm-hmm. And 39 currently is Kingston Daniel Bryan. And so those are sort of where I'm at because number 40 is Danielson McGuinness, Toyota Hokutos 41, Orton Foley 42, DIY Arrival 43. And for me, this is a match that, and like a few that we've covered so far, doesn't climb the list because of the wrestling. There's some good wrestling, but it climbs the list because of the moment and what this match means. I mean, if you look at the careers of DDP and Goldberg, you'd be hard to name a couple of matches on either side that are better for them in their careers. You know, when you think of the greatest Goldberg matches ever, this is at the top. When you think of the greatest DDP matches ever, this is close to the top, right? And so two legends of the business come together, and this is some of their best work. And so for me, World Heavyweight title on the line, regardless of the pay-per-view issues, obviously, on what was a big stage. Halloween Havoc was a big stage. You know, we talk about that all the time. WrestleMania, big stage. Starrcade, big stage. Halloween Havoc, I mean, it's the third time it's made it onto our list so far. So it's a big stage. It was the first time for me, I know, especially watching it back now, where the streak seemed legitimately in very real jeopardy. And the drama that's created in that moment speaks volumes to the entertainment portion of professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
And so for me, who can look at this match now 23 years later, I was on the edge of my seat
I was
the whole
too.
time.
And I've seen this match before. I watched it a month ago when DDP posted it, but I watched it again the other day and damn, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to break it down to technical wrestling, there are so many matches on this list that are going to beat it by a mile.
But these guys do a really good job. But I think what they do is they work to the limitations of Goldberg. Okay, he's not that good, but he can do these like 5 or 6 sequences really well. So we're going to do these type of sequences. Like you said, he can go to 100 moves from like pretty much from the suplex, from the front face lock, the cravat lock. He can go 100 different things. All right, so let's work that hold.
And you know,
let's work face lock.
I hesitate to say, and I know there's a vocal majority maybe nowadays that would agree with you and say Goldberg is not that good. I would challenge that and say Goldberg.
I'm gonna reframe that. Goldberg was limited.
Goldberg has a series of things that he's very, very good at. Definitely better than most people at certain things. I mean,
Goldberg,
he invented the fucking spear.
He did.
Which, how revolutionary was that for pro wrestling?
Goldberg was good at explosiveness.
And he absolutely was. Maybe better than anyone ever. And I think everybody has their own sort of strengths and weaknesses, so I don't think it's fair to say he sucks.
I don't think Goldberg sucks. I think Goldberg is a victim of WCW politics.
Well, and it's a warped view, right? We're looking through rose-colored glasses at this point. You know, it's so easy to say in 2021 that Goldberg was limited, but there's a reason. He went 154-0. He was a reason that guy was the champion of this company. You know what I mean? Like, he is what you think about when I think about WCW. The short list goes Sting, NWO, Goldberg. You know, like those are what I think about. DDP in that list as well. And so, you know, you think about a company that has so many fond memories for the people that followed it in WCW. This has got to be one close to the top of that list of memories for WCW fans.
This is probably one of the biggest moments in that company's history. And I put a lot of the credit to Diamond Dallas Page, but like he didn't wrestle this match alone. Goldberg looked like a star here. He looked like a champion here, and he proved that, hey guys, I actually can do more than spear jackhammer. I actually have a handful of things I can do. And
back handspring.
Yeah, which he had done it a couple times, but he didn't break that up very often.
And to be fair, there's something to be said about Goldberg showing this side where he can be the champion that gets the gritty win. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's something that some of these matches on our list are that moment where this dominant champion is a little caught off by surprise, and it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, I maybe wasn't prepared for as intense as this is, but I still got the job done, and that's what happened with Goldberg.
He did, but he got the job done because DDP made a mistake. He didn't win because he just blasted through everybody, which he normally did. Like, he beat the Giant in 2 minutes. Normal thing. He just beat the shit out of the Giant. We think, oh no, the Giant's too big and too strong. No, he took the jackhammer.
Yeah, DDP made a mistake, but Goldberg persevered through that shoulder injury.
Exactly.
So, you know, somehow at 154-0 to build yourself even stronger in a victory in a unique way, I think it was just really, really well done. And so to bring us back to the ranking, if I can, I think that is why it sits in that upper half range for me.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
I would probably, you know, if I had to pick, you know, I said it was 28 to 39. If I had to nail myself down to one singular number, I'm probably going... Oh gosh, I really thought I had that sentence prepared in my mind, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go right at 30. I'll put
30?
it. Yeah, I'll put it under Trish Stratus and Lita because of what they did for women's wrestling in the 21st century.
I get that.
But I'll put it above Almas and Gargano because that is an incredible wrestling match.
Talk about tight wrestling matches.
Good Lord. But even I think the stage here, the moment here, lasts
Is elevated,
longer
for sure.
than that one.
I agree. I love that placement.
30 is a damn good number.
I think we have it.
We've done it.
I think we have it. Goldberg DDP Halloween Havoc 1998 is the 30th greatest wrestling match of all time.
Through 73.
Exactly.
For 73. And fans there, you can send all your hate tweets to @PaulTiatzen on Twitter.com.
That's right.
Yeah, please let us know how you feel. Did we massively underrate this match? Did we really? Are we just too hype? Are we, victims of the moment?
Yeah.
Is
don't
this
think we
something
are.
that's not as good as we're saying it is? I don't know. I can't see that because I think it's so fun. And this episode, recording it, has been as fun as I expected it to be.
This might be my new favorite episode that we've done.
So fun.
It's got a little bit of everything, and I'm so hyped about this match. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. It's 11 minutes. You have no excuses.
And
it's so good.
And if you really wanted to hear what Terry Funk would sound like doing Hulk Hogan's WrestleMania 4 promo, re-listen to the opening 5 minutes.
We have such a good way to go here in season 4. Awesome
man.
stuff coming up. Let us know how you feel about DDP Goldberg. We've got some fun moments coming down the line. Until then, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
I'm Landon.
And this is Last Match Standing.